Welcome to Marvel Snap, everyone. For those who do not know, my name is Guest, also known as ItsGuestGaming. I'm a full-time content creator here for Marvel Snap over on Twitch and on YouTube, and I want to welcome you officially to the Marvel Snap community. So you've just downloaded the game, you're going for it for the very first time. What do you do? What kind of deck should you be building with what you're already being given in the game? Well, I'd like to get you started with at least the first 3 decks that you should be looking at as you're starting your Marvel Snap adventure, because the biggest thing that you'll notice is some cards are guaranteed right in the very beginning. You're going to go through the tutorial, they're going to give you the cards, you're going to have to do certain elements of how you start. So there are 3 pools or series groups, if you will, of cards that you can get progressively, and sometimes they appear in random order. So I'm going to show you 3 decks to work towards as you're starting your Marvel Snap adventure. The first one is the starter and recruit season. The second one then moves into the series 1 grouping, which goes all the way through collection level 214. And then we're going to go into series 2, where you're mainly looking for 1 or 2 very key cards, which will happen in just about the same amount of time as you completed your series 1. So we're going to swing on over and take a look at my collection right now and see the decks that you should start off with, at least in my opinion, as you start your Marvel Snap adventure. So we're going to start in the starter and recruit deck. First and foremost, this deck is basically telling you I have 2 game plan options here. The 2 game plan options that I'm looking to capitalize on are the on-reveal option and the ongoing option. Now, these are 2 of the main mechanisms for how the cards will operate, and now we're going to capitalize on having both of them in our deck, because sometimes you're going to want to go one path and sometimes you're going to want to go another path. So if you look at what we have already here on the board, you can take an analysis of each card one by one. But in recap, I'll say that right now, the one that matters is Ant-Man. He needs to be focused on very early on. You need to fill his lane. I'll also keep an eye on Hawkeye, because the second you play Hawkeye, you have to play in that lane, ideally the following turn, my apologies. And then once you get later on, as you kind of start to fill the board a little bit, then you have your turn 5 and your turn 6, where there are 2 major combinations that you are trying to gun for. You're gunning for Iron Man and Spectrum, because you've laid down a lot of ongoing cards, or you're looking at White Tiger and Odin to receive multiple big giant tigers on the battlefield. So how do you go about it? That's up to you. That's what the cards will have to deal to you. But Medusa, Wolfsbane, White Tiger, if you can try and target those into the center lane more often than not, that's all stacking, so it's easier to lop down that Odin afterwards and get all of those effects to pop off one more time. Obviously, the locations or even your opponent may prevent you from doing that sometimes, and that's okay. You can go a whole nother path. You can look at your ongoings like Punisher, who recently in the span of the game got a little bit of a buff, and now he can be up to a 7 power card as long as your opponent has filled their side. That's a really beefy amount of stats that I don't think should be slept on as you're starting your Marvel Snap adventure. So putting down the Mr. Fantastic in the middle lane, get all the power across the board. Punisher is a little bit of a tall card. Ant-Man, Iron Man, you've got all the ongoings, and then anywhere on the board, drop down that Spectrum and everybody gets more power. Lots of diversity in this deck, because depending on what you draw, it depends on which game plan you want to go after as you go towards turn 5 and turn 6. So as a first starter deck, to introduce you to the on-reveal mechanics, to introduce you to the ongoing mechanics, this kind of hits all of those, ticks all those boxes of what you're looking for. As you start to unlock more cards, though, the shape of the deck as you enter Series 1 is going to change so slightly. We start moving into more of the ongoing grouping of cards, and the reason being is the ceiling for that is much higher overall. We gain big pieces like Claw and Onslaught. Now, Claw is currently being played in top infinite meta decks that people have been playing forever, since Claw got a recent adjustment and got more power added to its effect. So we can capitalize on that right when we start in the very beginning of the game. And Onslaught, who doubles the ongoings, is going to double that effect of Claw. But as you see, we started to take out a couple more of those on reveals. We lose the Wolfsbane and we gain Captain America, who now gives +2 to all of the other ongoings in that lane that Captain America is. So he's got his shield. He wants to defend and give more power to everyone around him in his location. So his location, if you're dropping him down on turn 3, you want to stack big on top of. Best targets, in my opinion, are probably going to be Ant-Man, Onslaught, Claw, because that stack in and of itself is pretty dang beefy. On top of it, you could also just put the Iron Man, because Iron Man, who doubles the entire location, now becomes a 5/2 who doubles the entire location, and already getting power from Captain America and additional power from cards like either the Punisher on top of it, or even just fed in power from the side via Mr. Fantastic. There's a lot of different combinations of how your ongoing cards here can work. And the reason we dropped a lot of the on reveal cards is because I'm throwing into here Cosmo, an ongoing card who will benefit from Spectrum, but stops on reveals in that lane. So no, you can't play your Spectrum there, but you can get more power there by playing your Spectrum somewhere else. We're now really starting to take shape of this ongoing meta deck that will really lock out your opponents very quickly, especially with, in my opinion, one of the most important cards through Series 1, Cosmo, getting unlocked. Medusa's going to stay for now, though, because she's really good statistics very early on, and it's before Cosmo ever becomes a concern. You're going to drop that down, ideally Hawkeye into Medusa. That's a great turn 1, turn 2, very clean line to start off with, and there's no 4-cost cards here, because you want to try to feed 2 different options of using your 1s and 2s and 3s in the first 3 turns, and turn 4, that's your what else do I have, and now I can be flexible and throw it all across the board. Then turn 5 and turn 6 is normally pretty self-explanatory based on whichever you have left in your hand as you're approaching those last 2 turns. But you've been playing a little while now. Now you're moving into Series 2. You hit collection level 214, and now you're starting to gain a couple more cards that will give you a really, really solid starting opening deck. So for the next couple of unlocks, you're ideally looking for very specific cards. You're looking for armor. Armor as a protective piece is going to be very critical, because Killmonger also is a card that gets unlocked, which destroys all the 1-cost cards on the entire board. You really want to protect that Iron Man. You really want to protect the movability of that Nightcrawler, knowing that it's going to move to somewhere else, or even at the final turn, move it out of the armor lane. This helps protect a lot. Plus, now we're still feeding into that Captain America, Onslaught. There are scenarios where Ant-Man or Onslaught even, they can shoot over 10 power. And you want to also protect against Shang-Chi, who is one of the most critical cards in Marvel Snap, one of the strongest cards in Marvel Snap, even in top infinite meta play. The second that becomes unlocked, you need to start protecting your cards as they start to get over that 10 power threshold, and armor starts to become one of your more consistent considerations in the decks. So this is the ongoing deck that now has removed that Medusa, removed that Hawkeye, and leaned heavier into the ongoing ability right now. Colossus also makes an appearance here as the flex card. I personally just like that. I like Colossus being in here for the synergy. Can't be destroyed. We get more and more of those destroy cards, as we were talking about. Locations start to become a little bit more annoying over time too, so you want some flexibility. But I'd say Colossus is probably the flex card out of the deck, so you can put in the one that you really want. The other card that I highly recommend is Storm, and Storm is probably one of the best cards in Marvel Snap still to this day. The ability to lock down a location so early on is incredibly important, and with the flexibility of looking at specifically the middle lane and the right lane for Storm, that's going to be your best bet. The reason being is because you can reach into it in a variety of different ways. You can reach into it via Mr. Fantastic, you can move in your Nightcrawler afterwards, or even reach into it via Claw, and then further augment it if you want to put that Onslaught on top of the Claw as well. Therefore, Storm is less beneficial in the left lane, but way more beneficial in the middle and the right. Locking down that location gives you the ability to know, should I snap? Because snapping is one of the most important parts of the game and is one of the most critical parts to start learning early. Storm is a card that allows you to feel confident seeing the future, knowing that the locations are going to close to your benefit. This is how you get started with it. These are my suggestions for the first 3 decks you start with in Series 0, Series 1, and Series 2 in Marvel Snap. If you want to see some of this in action, stay tuned. I've got some gameplay for you right after this. Take a look at the decks as I'm going up against top Infinite decks that have full collections, full experience. Let's see how these decks do in Infinite. Thank you so much for watching. Enjoy the gameplay, and please come join us on Twitch for the live streams, or just hit that like and subscribe button down below. I appreciate the support. Enjoy. OG starter deck against Infinite players. Been a hot minute, I'm not gonna lie. You know, I've been playing the game for about 18 months plus at this point, and it's been a hot minute. And we're going up against a Thanos deck of all decks. Okay. Ooh, that's nice. Get two 5s out on the board. Okay. Ooh, at least in time before we lose the location. That's actually huge for him. That's huge for Iron Man. I can live with that. They're gonna want to clog it too, so I'm gonna play big into here. So I can either Iron Man this mid, which is probably gonna be overall more power, or I can Odin it just to keep up like Odin Medusa. Man, Iron Man actually here would be really good. I can also slide over the Nightcrawler, Iron Man on here, get the +2 that way, and then Odin in the mid potentially.
Taking aim.
Yeah, disabled the Punisher. Could be worse. Oh. Okay. If you go there, get the +2s, and then we Odin on top here while moving over Nightcrawler, that could do it. Yeah, that's the closing line, so I'm gonna snap. Yeah, that's the closing line. Yeah, that'll work. I feel pretty comfortable with that.
I am Iron Man.
4, 4, 3.
Let's go.
So kitties go back up to 5 and 6. So they're 6 and 7. That's 13 power that can get added back into that lane. That'll be 7 power all about itself. I think I'm just gonna do this. I'm gonna put the 5, the 7, and double this up. That goes up because of Atlantis. Goes up to 7. Kitty Pride. 26. And it was almost all 3 lanes. But there you go. We had different lines and outs, different small packages. Takes down Infinite Play. All right, game number 2. Let's see what we can do. That's a really great location for us for several reasons. So I'm gonna keep the flexibility actually in here first, knowing I can move that way how I need to. especially if one of them is a locked out location, Sanctum Sanctorum or something like Jotunheim. I want to wait till the very end. Wolfsbane, I'm going to want this here for a double procking. And Medusa is going to be able to go all over the place. We can do Medusa bounce. Oh, there's some really cheeky bounce plays here with on reveals, getting them to happen once, twice. So I'm going to snap, even just with these 3 in my hand. Because I can have Medusa go down into the middle location. Great scenario. It gets the +3 and then it comes back to the hand. That's awesome. And a slidable New York. As much as I want the Wolfsbane ramp ups, I'm gonna have to settle for the Medusa ones. Because next turn I have to play it down in here. So let's get the +3. And then next turn we look at going into Camartage. Then we can look at White Tigers and yeah. They're gonna take Ant-Man? Yeah, okay, so they took my Ant-Man, which stays on the board. Come back to my hand again. That's a big old Red Hulk, great. Ooh, that's nice. Yeah, because now he's gonna proc twice in that lane. And then this is gonna proc twice. And then that's gonna proc twice. And then depending on what we need, we can either go here or we can plop even just another 2/8 down on the board. This is looking good. This is looking good. Even with the mill deck as our opponent, they're gonna pull another card. It looks like, oh no, because it's not on the board, it doesn't count it.
Taking aim.
Goes off twice, goes to 9. Nice. Let's get double Tigers out. Even if they both land in New York or both land in Luke's bar, either is fine. Ooh, Black Bolt gets a double hit there. All right, the Iron Man might be the play. That's nice. So this we can, because he can free move, I'm gonna put him here. And then 7, 9. There's no ongoings for her to buff. I think this is just like give that 1 extra power here and plop it down. So we have 32 in here, 17 in here, 2 in here. Let's see what they probably move over the Ant-Man, but I'm still happy with 2 in the mid and then 32 on the left. They leave it.
I am Iron Man.
And even against big giant Red Hulk, we take all 3 lanes. All right, it holds.
Victory.
Series 0 took down Red Hulk. Love it. All right, now we're moving to the Series 1 deck. We're leaning heavier into the ongoings, backing away from some of the on-reveals like the White Tiger. We're now moving into Claw and Onslaught and Captain America, and this is a heavier push. We want to lean this way very often with this deck, so this is kind of restrictive for cards like Claw. So with Medusa in hand, for now we're going to use Hawkeye as our potential ramper in the mid. We have this into Medusa. It's a great 9 power start. And the Raft. Ant-Man's a card to plop in here if we need to destroy that lane. Nebula's gonna rise. Okay. See, that's actually fantastic. Because now I don't feel bad about whatever I toss in here because it's going to revive. So I'm going to go down the path of Cosmo. Let Cosmo come back in the Valley of the Hand. Doesn't feel bad. And go to Nightcrawler. Hey, we can do that. Because now this is turn 4, turn 5 Claw, turn 6 Spectrum, plus we get a free card. This is a snap condition. I can see the line to victory here. The free card, ideally, we look to play next turn in Valley of the Hand. Hopefully it's a good 6 cost. Ooh, that's a really good one. Oh, that's a really good one. Just straight up power, as is beefy power. Now, what sucks though is they are gonna give us a Widow's Kiss, because not only do they give it to us here, they're gonna give it to us here as well, because when it revives, it'll reactivate the on reveal. We can actually take that to our advantage though. Hold on. Because the Cosmo comes back. And then we Spectrum over here. Widow's Kiss comes over, which is an ongoing. Yep. That's the move. Oh, no. They locked me down. I revealed first though, so I'm okay. Oh, all right. If I revealed first though, this is potentially a cannonball style play, which means one of the 5s go away here. The cannonball for 7, it gets rid of a 5. I think we're okay, actually. They typically don't run very, very strong cards here. Yeah, there you go. Because I'm adding at least 5, ideally 6 or 7 via Punisher. So they'd have to go over at least 12 from where they are. And there you go. Takes it out. Even if they didn't unlock, the goal was to take the Spectrum, play it here with what was on the board. So Cosmo would have went up 2, this lane would have went up another 4, and then Spectrum is a 6, which brings that just barely in the positive, but probably a thrown lane either way. But I'm happy nevertheless. All right, now we're going back to Series 1 and seeing if we can go over the top here. This is a nice starting opening hand. This is a 28 power play all by itself. Yet alone, we could send some of that power wide. Nice start. Even without littles, this is good to know what our potential final could be. This is a little off curve, but that's kind of okay. We're gonna play the Medusa on curve to specifically then have to mess with Hawkeye off curve. So that means not using all of the mana every turn. Everything but Spectrum allows us to fulfill this.
Assemble. Taking aim. Assemble.
Okay. Nice. And now we take that 5 and we stack that on top of the next one. Ongoing Lizard. I wouldn't be surprised then to see a Luke Cage. So we're playing selfishly on this. If I pull a small, I might be able to still take advantage of Mr. Fantastic.
I am Iron Man.
Yeah. This... With them having priority, that definitely changes things. Because they can either add... Do they add the Spectrum here? They could add the Spectrum here. They also could add Onslaught here. Onslaught here... I mean, Spectrum here doesn't make sense. I mean, Onslaught here doesn't make sense because of the Lizard. Even just a 2 little power here could be very powerful. Tough decision here. I think this is a forfeit lane.
Knowledge is power.
Forfeit lane was right. Beautiful. It's all about where are they going with it. And not only this deck in concept, if you look at the one above us, that's also a Series 2 deck. Minus, I think, maybe Lizard. Don't quote me on Lizard, but they're playing this in Infinite. This is a Series 1, Series 2 deck also. And I'm in Infinite play. So it can compete. People are still using it. All right, now we're moving on to the Series 2 deck. And the Series 2 deck, we've opted to tech in Storm. I've gone with Armor and Colossus. You can go ahead and, switch those out for something like a Jessica Jones if you want to go down that path for the lockdown. But I like the super ongoingness of everything. And Nightcrawler still one of the top cards for reasons like this. Colossus here is a great combo. I'm actually going to hold on to this for potentially turn 4. So let's hold on because I don't know if they're going to go down the destroy route. Okay, Yondu, not bad. Okay, this is a full mill package here. If it's Yondu and Red Hulk, chances are this is a mill deck. So we're going to need cards like you to really shine. Baron Zemo is probably looking to do a pull over into Death's Domain would be my guess if this is a mill deck. That's what they're thinking probably too right now. So let's go ahead and play out Death's Domain. We can also put down the Nightcrawler and move it in later. The double on reveal negation with Cosmo is going to take priority though, no matter what's in this location, because no on reveals ×2. That feels good. Cool. So because of how their deck is so on reveal heavy, I'm going to go big. I'm going to play into the RNG of X Mansion a bit. Could be our rise, it could be our fall. And they remove it. Okay. That opens up that lane for them. Protection and all right, so it's an even wash basically. Turn 3. Potentially. They can't undo the ongoings here. Just put a little power all over the board. I think that's fine. We do need either our Storm to cheat out Limbo, or probably our Onslaught. Float turn 4.
I am Iron Man.
And if that's Doc Ock, things feel good. No, it's Black Bolt. Low hit. That feels good. Okay. So now we got to decide. Can we steal this turn? Because if we can, most of what they want to do is in this lane. Most of what they want to do is in this lane. And this puts a tie. For example, if either of those places get Doc Ock, only one can. This gets a buff. This is a tie. This is a small win. I'm gonna go for the cheat. Gonna go for the cheat out. They play. Told you they were everything they wanted to do would be in the non on reveals. Be good to me. Thank you. And that's why Storm was my number 1 3-cost card when we talked about it on the podcast. That right there. All right, let's go game 2 here with the Series 2 deck. See what we can do with it. But okay, that's a Storm location if I ever saw one. And that's tough because all my cards want to feed that way, to the right. So we're gonna put you here. And this might just be a sacrifice. Claw hurts. This might just be a sacrifice. Ooh, that's nice. Okay. At least we have contestable power using the Mr. Fantastic. We can push the other lanes. Ooh.
Wind, aid my hand.
Gonna ramp up the Nightcrawler here. Get a little bit of extra power on it. Luke Cage, Scorpion. Ooh, this could be a full hazmat routine. Colossus could be our winning card. If this is a hazmat deck, like an Affliction hazmat deck, this could be our winning card. This is nice. Could be Wong, could be Gambit. They play into it and it's Tigers. That's honestly fine. Okay, so if they're looking at an Odin, right? What can they do here? This adds 2. This goes to 10. This adds 4 here. Rather than 2. Still activates a single time. I think that's enough power there. If we add 4 here and do that, I'm okay with that. Ooh, we needed to go taller. Long. Hazmat times 2. 1, 2. No problem.
Victory.
Able to go tall enough in that lane, and even if we went with the onslaught, we would have gone even taller. That's the insane part. Awesome. It works. It works in infinite play. Hopefully, these decks give you some idea of roughly the ideas and different outs and lines and what you can use, and that they can be competitive here in Marvel Snap, whether you're just starting the game in day 1, week 1, month 1, or you've been playing for a year and a half plus, like myself. So if you enjoy this style of content, as always, hit that like and subscribe button down below, and hopefully you come join us for the live stream where we have a lot more Marvel Snap and more content coming soon to the channel. Thank you so much, everyone. See you all next time.